Did you know that as you're watching this video, one person develops dementia every 3 seconds worldwide? That's over 10 million new cases each year. But here's the really terrifying part. Dementia often creeps in long before you or even your doctor notice anything is wrong. In fact, studies show that changes in cognitive function can be detected up to 18 years before a clinical diagnosis is made. That means while you're going about your daily routine, your brain might already be silently changing in ways that are nearly impossible to detect until it's too late. What's even more alarming is that in seniors, many of these early signs are brushed off as just normal aging or stress, allowing the disease to progress unchecked. But here's what most people don't realize. Catching some early warning signs can actually slow down or even prevent the devastating decline that dementia brings. So in this video, we're revealing the 7 earliest, sneakiest signs of dementia that seniors must never ignore. Especially number 1, which is the most dangerous and most commonly overlooked by families and doctors alike. Stay with us till the end, because we're also going to reveal 4 special brain-protecting foods that science has shown can actually help prevent dementia before it starts. Before we begin, let us know in the comments below where you're watching from. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Let's now take a moment to understand what dementia really is and why it happens. Dementia isn't a single disease. It's a term used to describe a decline in mental ability that interferes with daily life. It affects things like memory, thinking, judgment, and language. Alzheimer's disease is the most common type, accounting for nearly 70% of all cases, but there are others too, like vascular dementia or Lewy body dementia. What happens is that your brain contains around 86 billion neurons. These neurons communicate using chemical and electrical signals. When dementia starts, this communication begins to break down. Neurons start to die. Brain tissue shrinks, and the brain's ability to process and store information fades. This happens due to several factors, some related to age, some to chronic inflammation, and others to the build-up of toxic proteins, like beta amyloid or tau tangles that literally choke brain cells. The result is a slow but unstoppable deterioration of the very thing that makes us who we are. With that said, let's now reveal these 7 early signs, starting from number 7 all the way down to the number 1 red flag you simply cannot afford to ignore. Number 7. Gradual personality changes that don't feel like you. Imagine waking up one day and feeling like you just don't care anymore. Not about hobbies, not about conversations, not even about the people you love. You're not depressed, but you feel emotionally dull, disconnected, or easily irritated. Maybe you used to love chatting with friends, but now you'd rather sit alone. Or perhaps you were always calm, but suddenly you get annoyed by small things, snap at loved ones, or feel anxious in situations that never used to bother you. These aren't mood swings, they're personality shifts, and they're one of the earliest red flags of dementia, especially frontotemporal dementia, which affects the part of the brain that regulates emotions, empathy, and behavior. These changes often show up years before memory issues. Family members may notice that something feels off, but because it's subtle and gradual, it's easy to write off as aging, grief, or stress. But if these changes persist for months and affect relationships or daily routines, they may be the brain's first cry for help. Number 6. Sudden difficulty making simple, everyday decisions. You're standing in front of your wardrobe. It's a sunny day, and yet you pick up a thick wool sweater without thinking. Or maybe you're in a grocery store, looking at 2 types of milk for what feels like 10 minutes, unable to choose. In early dementia, decision-making, even the smallest kind, starts to feel like walking through fog. This is not indecisiveness, in the usual sense. It's an unfamiliar hesitation that creeps into basic, once automatic routines. What makes it worse is that the individual may still appear confident, even while making inappropriate or risky decisions. They might leave the stove on, give away large sums of money to strangers, or ignore important deadlines like paying bills. This decline in judgment comes from deterioration in the brain's frontal lobe, especially the prefrontal cortex. Number 5. Struggling to follow conversations, especially in group settings. Have you ever felt lost in a conversation, like everyone else is speaking too fast, or jumping from topic to topic? Now imagine that feeling becoming your everyday reality. In early dementia, the brain starts to process information more slowly. So when someone is speaking, especially in group settings where voices overlap or topics shift quickly, it becomes difficult to keep up. Seniors might nod along, pretending they understand, or they might repeat questions that were just answered. Some describe it as a feeling of words not landing, like hearing, but not really absorbing what's being said. They may also start to avoid social events, or stay quiet during family dinners, not because they don't care, but because it's mentally exhausting to try to keep up. Television shows become harder to follow. Instructions feel overwhelming. The conversation flows like a river, but their brain is wading through quicksand. It's a cruel symptom because it pushes people into isolation, which only worsens the progression of dementia. It's not a hearing problem, it's a comprehension problem, and it's a very early sign that your brain's processing power is beginning to slow down. Number 4. Getting lost or confused in places you know well. Imagine going for your daily walk around the block, a walk you've taken for 10 years. And suddenly not recognizing the turn to your street, or driving to the grocery store you've been visiting for 2 decades, only to realize you don't know where you are or how you got there. This is one of the most chilling early signs of dementia, the inability to navigate familiar environments. The brain has a built-in GPS system called the entorhinal cortex that helps us form mental maps. But in early dementia, this system begins to fail. Seniors might find themselves taking longer routes, avoiding travel altogether, or relying heavily on GPS for even simple errands. The scariest part is that these episodes of getting lost don't feel like panic attacks. They feel more like eerie blanks. People might find themselves in parking lots, unsure which direction home is, or walking through their own neighborhood feeling like it's the first time. They often make excuses like, "I must have been distracted," or "I just took a wrong turn." But deep down, they feel that something isn't right. And once this symptom becomes frequent, it puts their safety at immediate risk, especially for those who live alone. It's not about memory anymore. It's about disconnection from space, surroundings, and self. Number 3. Losing track of time and dates in a disorienting way. We all occasionally forget what day it is or lose track of time, but in early dementia, This isn't just a momentary lapse. It becomes a persistent confusion about time itself. Seniors may forget what season it is, mix up dates, or become disoriented about whether it's morning or evening. They might show up for appointments on the wrong day, or ask repeatedly what month it is, even after being told. But here's what makes this symptom different. It's not just about forgetting. It's about losing the internal sense of time. The brain's internal clock, regulated in part by the hippocampus and surrounding structures, starts to malfunction. That means the person doesn't just forget a date. They no longer feel anchored in time. They may think something that happened 5 years ago just happened last week. Or they might talk about deceased relatives as if they're still alive. This disconnection can feel frightening and strange for the person experiencing it. Number 2. Placing items in strange locations and not remembering why. Forgetting where you left your keys is one thing, but putting your keys in the freezer, your wallet in the oven, or your reading glasses inside a tissue box, that's a whole different story. In early dementia, it's not just that items are misplaced. It's that they're found in places that don't make any sense. What's even more troubling is that the person often has no memory of putting them there, and when questioned, they may become defensive or even accuse others of moving or stealing the item. This isn't about clumsiness or absent-mindedness. It's a breakdown in spatial memory and logical thinking abilities controlled by regions of the brain like the parietal lobe and hippocampus. Seniors with this symptom may also start to forget what certain items are for. They might pick up a toothbrush and not remember whether it's for brushing hair or teeth. The world starts to feel unfamiliar, even inside their own home. Number 1. Trouble naming everyday objects or finding the right words. Now, for the number 1 most overlooked and dangerous early sign of dementia. This isn't dramatic. It doesn't come with crying or confusion. It's quiet, persistent, and disturbingly easy to miss. It begins with language, more specifically, word finding. A senior might stop mid-sentence and say, "You know that thing?" or substitute vague words like stuff and thingy more often than usual. They may point to a toothbrush and say, "the mouth stick," or struggle to name a family member they've known for years. This condition is called anomicaphasia, and it's an early indicator of damage to the temporal lobe, the part of the brain responsible for language processing. People with this symptom often know what they want to say, but the words feel just out of reach. At first, they may joke about it or laugh it off, but the frustration builds. They become more withdrawn, less talkative, and hesitant in group conversations. This change isn't about being forgetful. It's a breakdown in access to the vocabulary that once came so easily. We're not going to tell you what everyone else says. You already know about blueberries, leafy greens, and omega-3 fish. Let's look at 4 under-the-radar foods that have been scientifically shown to protect your brain. And they might just surprise you. Number 1. Walnuts. These brain-shaped nuts are more than just a snack. They're a neurological superfood. Walnuts are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that can reduce brain inflammation and oxidative stress. One large study from UCLA found that people who regularly consumed walnuts performed significantly better on cognitive tests, especially in areas like memory, concentration, and processing speed. Walnuts also contain polyphenols and vitamin E, which protect brain cells from the free radicals that damage neurons over time. And unlike fish oil, which can be hard to digest for some seniors, walnuts are gentle on the stomach and easy to incorporate. Just a handful a day can make a difference, whether added to oatmeal, crushed into smoothies, or eaten raw. They're one of the simplest ways to guard your mind. Number 2. Turmeric. This vibrant yellow spice has been used in Indian medicine for thousands of years. But modern research is finally catching up. Curcumin has been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, where it acts as a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. In fact, a study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that people who took curcumin supplements over 18 months experienced significant improvements in memory and attention, and even showed less amyloid plaque buildup in brain scans. But here's the key. Curcumin must be paired with black pepper and fat to be absorbed properly. Try mixing turmeric with warm coconut milk and a dash of pepper for a brain-boosting golden drink that's delicious and protective. Number 3. Dark chocolate. This one you might not expect. But dark chocolate is packed with flavonoids and cocoa, which improves blood flow to the brain, especially in regions related to learning and memory. In one 2015 study, seniors who consumed high flavonol cocoa daily for 8 weeks showed noticeable improvements in thinking speed and verbal fluency. Cacao also promotes the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that helps new neurons grow and survive. Not all chocolate is created equal, though. The benefit comes from pure dark chocolate, with at least 70% cacao content and minimal sugar. A square or two per day is enough to get the cognitive perks without overdoing it on calories. And let's be honest, it's one of the most enjoyable ways to fight off cognitive decline. Number 4. Extra virgin olive oil. This golden liquid is packed with polyphenols, which are powerful plant compounds that fight inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 key drivers of dementia. One major study, known as the Mind Diet, found that seniors who consumed olive oil regularly had significantly slower rates of cognitive decline. What makes olive oil especially effective is that it supports blood flow to the brain and protects against the buildup of harmful proteins like beta amyloid, which are linked to Alzheimer's. The best way to use it is to drizzle it over vegetables, or use it as your main salad dressing. Just make sure it's cold-pressed and stored in a dark bottle to preserve its nutrients. So to wrap this all up, dementia doesn't just show up overnight. It starts in whispers. It changes personalities, alters speech, confuses time, and scrambles the way the brain once effortlessly moved through the world. But those whispers can be heard if you know how to listen. The 7 silent signs we talked about today are not just forgetfulness or senior moments. They are early alarms. Alarms that, if caught in time, give you a chance to act, to support your brain, change your habits, and extend your clarity for years to come. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you or a loved one ever experienced any of these silent signs? Do you believe that small changes in speech or mood could actually be your brain waving a red flag? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.